Are you ready to take your podcast to the next level? Then look no further than NAST Studios, located in Seattle's Pioneer Square. Hi, I'm Blake. I'm the owner, in-house producer, and editor. We've got 3 cameras to capture every moment and can host up to 8 mics, ensuring your podcast looks and sounds professional. We've got affordable pricing for podcasters at all levels. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.naststudios.com. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm here with a friend. I've known you for maybe 2 years now.
Yeah, a couple of years
Kind of
now, right?
wild.
Yeah.
And I kind of relate you to DJ Vlad in the sense that whenever I have a guest, I immediately look at DJ Vlad or your podcast, The Biggest Podcast, because you guys do such good information gathering.
Yeah.
And like you really tell like a full story. For me, when I try to do people's origin stories, it's almost like ADHD and I'm just fucking bouncing back and forth. But like you,
Right.
you're really good at like, for the
Linear.
first interview at least, like you really stick to that.
Yeah.
And DJ Vlad is the same thing. And then I
Gotcha.
also feel like when you're doing an interview, you're good at selection. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I chose a good guest if they've been on either one of your guys' shows.
Gotcha.
Even though, you guys are in total different parts of the world, but
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like, and then, there's some like downsides to DJ Vlad.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, I don't know if I want to be like grouped in with Vlad or not. I mean, I think he's actually good and good at what he does, but he gets a lot of hate. So I don't know if I want to be that guy.
But you're also I don't know if you still classify yourself as a B-boy, but you were a B-boy at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, man. I mean, if we're just going to get right into that, it's like, yeah, I used to B-boy a little bit in breakdance when I like was really young. Like I'm talking about like 5. You know what I mean? So this was like pretty early on. Yeah, is that how it is?
Yeah, just like that.
I think you got it down.
The hop and you don't stop.
Yeah.
You were also an artist. You were in Clockwork.
Yes.
I keep wanting to say there's like a longer title to it, but it's just like Clockwork. Right?
Yeah, it's just Clockwork.
Because there's like
Clockwork. It's not the Clockwork. It's not Clockwork Orange or anything like that. Yeah.
But you performed at I saw you at Clockout Lounge.
Clockout Lounge, that's right. Yeah.
Similar titles.
Similar.
We're related.
Totally related.
We're relating things here today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically you're a DJ, you're a podcast host, you're a B-boy, you're an artist.
Yep.
It's my pleasure to have on Miguel Rockwell.
Thank you.
And I'm also, why is it, your real name's Michael Garcia?
Yeah. That's
so
right.
how did Miguel Rockwell, where did that come from?
It's kind of, Miguel and Michael are the same name. So Miguel is just Michael in Spanish.
Oh.
So, yeah, I know. I thought that was just like a common fact, and everybody knew that, but I guess it's not that known because I tell people sometimes and they're like, oh, my gosh, really? But, yeah, so it's the same name. So, I mean, but, yeah, my government name is Michael Garcia. But, yeah, Miguel is just Michael, and then it just needed something that sounded good to go with Miguel. And it was super randomly. I know you had my guy Lace Cadence on, and you talked to him a little bit about our DreamWorks deal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But while we were in LA recording with DJ Quick, it was the time when the actor Sam Rockwell had this movie out. I can't even remember the name of the movie, but it was about the Gong Show, this old TV game show.
Okay.
And there was like a preview that I was watching, and it said starring Sam Rockwell, and I was like, oh, Rockwell, and I just randomly was like, oh, that's kind of a interesting last name, and then I just kind of put it together with Miguel, and I was like, oh, it sounds kind of good. And
have you ever sampled him then? I love Sam Rockwell, actually.
No, I haven't sampled him.
That'd be funny. Yeah. That'd be your intro.
But just saying Rockwell?
Yeah, or Sam saying or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Just cut out the Sam.
Yeah. But I had no idea. That makes but do you go by Miguel or Michael more then?
It just kind of depends. I mean, my close friends usually call me Michael or Mike, but
it's like
but it's honestly
it's just a DJ thing though. It's not like you came from Mexico and then you had to choose like an American.
No. I mean, I was born here in Seattle. I mean, I am half Mexican.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have to choose. I chose it just because.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of flipped it. My last name is Garcia, and I wanted to keep something kind of.
Oh, I actually heard that
Latino
Garcia
element
and Rockwell are actually.
Oh, they're the same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do people? So I guess. Wow. I guess I never. You're kind of when I look at you though, I don't really think of any race. I just feel like you're.
It's kind of like.
People get that? Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, I think people don't really know. People are like, maybe something, but maybe like Persian or like something that they just don't know. Yeah. So.
Amazing. So you're from Seattle originally.
Yeah, born and raised.
What part of Seattle?
I grew up in North Seattle, so like Lake City.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to drive through there like all
City.
the time now for my commute.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's insane. Like I'm coming from Snohomish right now. Until I find my next
you're
place.
back up there now.
Yeah. So I have to figure out like I haven't had to commute for like a year.
Right.
And, like that is insane. It's like an hour to an hour and a half.
Oh, that's
so
rough.
Like.
And that's better taking 522 than.
Yeah, like cause like Bellevue, going through Bellevue takes forever.
Yeah.
Going through
I-5.
Shoreline takes. I also am really bad at like freeway and highway names. So
okay.
So I that's I'm actually really
I-5
bad.
is the main freeway.
But that could be like main freeway to go where?
The main
to
freeway
California?
through Seattle.
Okay, and that one takes you all the way to Tacoma or whatever.
Yeah, it goes from Canada to Mexico.
Got it.
Yeah.
See, someone will teach me and then I'll remember for like a week and then I forget.
Actually, no, I think I'm wrong. I think actually it becomes the 405 when you go down more into California, and that's the one that goes all the way to Mexico. But it does connect.
But like I got to the point where I was like, my commute time was down to like 5 minutes, right? So like
from when you were living in the city, yeah.
So then at that point, like I definitely didn't really care about freeway names. And now,
right. Now you got to relearn.
Yeah, so that's where I am right now. But we're at the studio. You've kind of seen the evolution of like I still manage the studio that we had our first meeting at the Union in downtown.
Oh, okay. So you are still doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I got all these questions that I want to ask you, and I'm like, no, but I'm just like I'm so used to wanting to ask questions and interview and stuff too. But I'm like, okay, let me let you do the interviewing this time.
But yeah, one thing that I really like about you is I connect with you on like I feel like on the surface we're both DJs and podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I guess you can say like you're a b-boy, you're a dad, you're a blah blah blah. But
yeah.
I feel like those are like your two professions, and that's kind of like my two professions also. So it's
right.
So it's cool to like connect with you on that level. I don't know if that is DJing and podcasting a common thing. Do you think,
I don't
really?
think so. I don't know. Well, actually, honestly, I think now it is.
Okay.
When I started doing a podcast, it was still like kind of early before the like major podcast boom.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was common then. But now I think it is way more common because I think everybody has a podcast now.
Yeah.
And you're in there like pretty young because I feel like it's like once you turn 40 as a male, you just have to have a podcast because everybody needs to hear what you have to say. You know what I'm saying? It's very important that everybody hears you.
It's like
it's a birthright.
It's the Christmas present your wife gets you and then immediately regrets that they got you a podcast setup.
Yeah. So there's very oversaturated now, right? Yeah. There's a million people doing podcasts now.
Yeah.
Anybody can do a podcast now, and it's cool. I mean, it expands everything and it's more for everybody, but it's a totally different landscape now than when
I feel like there was more of a community when you were doing it though. And I tried to interview all those people in the podcast community you were part of during the pandemic.
The music community?
Well, like the podcast. I feel like there was a podcast community when you were like,
was it?
I forget. You like would feature on other people's podcasts and they would feature on yours.
Yeah, we had a couple. I guess we did have a couple.
Yeah.
Hip Hop Seattle. They were kind of like is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like just starting or like pretty new when they came on our podcast. And then they like blew up after us.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they're still doing it, are they?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then Casey Carter doesn't do their podcast.
Casey Carter
anymore.
doesn't hers.
There was another one. I forget what it's called.
Oh, the He Said
yes,
podcast.
Yeah, that's what
those guys. Yeah,
they don't really. I don't think they do them anymore. Either,
no,
right?
I think they just they're busy, man. They they like have regular jobs and it's a lot.
But like for me, I don't really have anyone I can like bounce off like podcast ideas to.
Gotcha.
Like I can share it to my friends and family, and they could either be like, "You should put this out," or "You shouldn't."
Yeah.
Like especially because I've been trying to do my own like solo podcast lately.
Okay.
And like I've made like 5 episodes that people are just like, "Don't put that out."
Oh, you haven't dropped any of them?
I've released 3 so far. I just released one today.
Okay, I see. I didn't even know.
But it's literally just called the NAST Cast instead of the NAST Podcast.
That's the laziest name ever.
But
that's like when Joe Budden's podcast first started. It was called "I'll Name This Podcast Later."
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not the most clever with names. I'm holding on to a name that I came up with when I was in high school. So like,
got you. What is the NAST?
So it was an acronym.
Okay.
It was hottest hip hop news and sneaker talk, and then I called it the
news and sneaker what?
Talk.
Okay.
And then I just had like a fucking slur right there or something. But yeah, NAST. So then I made it an acronym called the Triple H NAST Podcast.
Got you.
And then people thought it was a wrestling podcast.
Right.
And fast forward now, I produce a wrestling podcast, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
The Defy. Have you been to Defy shows?
I haven't. I've been wanting to go. I know a lot of
I could get you tickets if you
Oh,
want to.
you can? Okay, yeah, I want
to
to go. I know a lot of the homies like Grinch and Geo. Those guys be going a lot.
They're super
like,
fun.
Super into it. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like Siri couldn't understand what I was saying because I was like, play the Triple H NAST, but I was the only one thinking it was Triple H NAST. No one online would be like, oh, that's the Triple H NAST podcast.
They would just say the HHH NAST podcast.
Yeah. So
or the NAST podcast.
100%. So then I cut off the H's and made it the NAST podcast. So it's kind of like, it can be an acronym, but it could also just be like a word that I made up.
So you're not really sticking to the news and sneaker talk.
No, like I got some cool sneakers on right now, but like
got the Yeezys.
Yeah, but like I also just bought the. Did you see Kanye like made all this stuff online for like $20?
Yeah.
But like half the shit is like anti-Semitic. So it's like
wait, on the actual clothes?
Yeah, like he has like the fucking like squid Nazi or eagle squid.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that he had like his, actual imagery. Oh, that's
his new like album logo is all fucking anti-Semitic. So then like
let's not even go on start the Kanye conversation. That'll take up the whole podcast.
But he did release like these like
yeah, I saw he released a whole thing that was like super low. He even first released it for more.
Yeah.
And then went and dropped the price and then said that he would refund people's money back that bought it for when it was more expensive.
I don't know if that's even going to actually happen, to be honest.
Oh, really? I heard that's what happened. Maybe that's not what happened.
Well, that's what he said he's going to do, but like even for shipping,
right?
Like I bought the ninja shoes for $20, right?
Yeah.
And
you bought those?
But they're not going to even come for like they're not even going to ship for 4 weeks. So like the back ordering and all this stuff is insane. So like if you think you're gonna get like
a refund anytime soon, good luck with that.
The guy that was like Mark Zuckerberg or whatever, give me $1 million when he was in debt.
Is that what he said?
What was it? Elon, one of those big corporate
Elon,
guys. He was
Elon.
like in like 2016, he was like, I'm in debt. Can you pay off all my loans? It was craziness. But besides Kanye West, we're here to talk about.
Thanks.
we're here to talk about you. So like, why did you create a podcast in the first place?
Me and my guy Joe Hawkins Bird, we're just longtime friends. We've been friends since like 6th grade, 7th grade.
Nice. Wait, what high school did you go to?
We went to middle school and high school together because it was one school. It was Summit K-12 in Lake City, which is a alternative school. So it was an alternative arts school. A lot of people think of alternative school as like the place where you go when you get kicked out of other public schools. And it was that too, because it was one of the schools that you could go to in Seattle public schools if you got kicked out of another like standard Seattle public school.
Yeah.
So we had kids that had got kicked out, but we also had like a waiting list to get in of people that actually wanted to go there because it was like really focused on arts and stuff like that too. So anyway, that's where I met Lace.
Yeah.
That's where I met my other guy from Clockwork, Danny Wormwood. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
And lots of other people that you probably know went there. Lots of other like Seattle artists and stuff went to there. So it's
That's pretty
cool school. So anyway, my guy Joe, we've known each other, and I still have like a core group of friends that I've known since like middle school.
That's cool.
And those are like my closest friends. You know what I mean? We were always into like listening to podcasts pretty early, and so we just decided, you know.
Wait, what's the earliest podcast you remember?
I think probably the podcast that got me into really listening to podcasts was the Juan podcast, Juan Epstein, which is
not Jeffrey Epstein.
Not Jeffrey Epstein.
The Juan Epstein?
Yeah. Juan, I mean, yeah.
That's kind of like Hitler at this point, if you think about it. You can't have that last
No, I was like, definitely don't say that I listened to the Jeffrey Epstein podcast.
Okay, so you were listening to Juan?
No, Juan Epstein was basically, it's known as like the first hip-hop podcast. So it's Peter Rosenberg and Cypher Sounds.
Okay,
you know who they are?
Yeah.
So they both used to work on High 97.
Yeah.
They just kind of like randomly started doing these where they would get on the mics and practice being on a show before they would do their radio show, just to kind of like build their camaraderie.
Yeah.
And they recorded it, and then Rosenberg was like, oh, let's just put this up as like a podcast. And then they just started talking about hip-hop shit because they're both hip-hop nerds and shit, you know. And so it became the thing. And then they were at Hot 97. They were able to get all these dope interviews with all these like classic legacy artists that talking about stories that they never heard before. So it was
Yeah.
really, I've been like a hip hop head since I first, got introduced to it, and I just was like wanted to soak up everything about hip hop. So I'm just like super passionate about it, and
That's wild.
So anyway, so that's what got me into listening to podcasts, and I
Yeah.
was like, and then me and Joe, we were kind of like, oh man, we could really, we have a funny kind of banter between ourselves already anyway, and as our relationship, and so we were like, oh, we should start a podcast and just clown around, and so we started like recording ourselves, just like chatting, whatever, chopping it up, and just like making fun of each other, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
And then it still took us like 2.5, 3 years before we actually started the podcast.
Dang.
So we were just kind of like, we both have families and,
Yeah.
wives and lives and everything else. So it just kind of didn't happen. And then finally we were like, all right, let's really do it. And so we just started it, and then it just kind of like took off from there. And
what are some like annoying podcast questions that you used to get when you were like deep into podcasting? Like the question I hate the most is when people are like, who's the biggest person you've had on your show?
Oh.
I always hate that so much. But like, do you remember any like super annoying questions or stereotypes about having a show?
You know what? Honestly, like it was still so early.
Yeah.
I don't even think people really knew fully what podcasts were all the way yet.
Ah, dang.
You know what I mean? It was like still kind of a new medium that hadn't exploded yet.
Dang.
And so, I mean, some people knew what it was.
Right,
I don't know. I can't even think of like annoying questions really that people would ask, but that is a funny one though.
I guess it's kind of like probably if people understood, they probably thought it was like a radio show, if anything.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I started in 2019, like right before COVID, so I try to be like, I'm an elder because I didn't start my podcast
during COVID.
Yeah.
I'm an elder.
I'm BC. I'm before COVID.
Right, BC before COVID. Yeah.
But how many are you planning on restarting that podcast at all, or what really happened with that?
Yeah, honestly? I mean, basically it was COVID, honestly. Yeah. As soon as COVID hit, we went on hiatus because it was like, okay, well, we can't meet in person anymore. And then,
wait, where'd you record actually? Where was that at?
We recorded in this random spot. I went to UW like audio engineering school.
Yeah.
And I met this dude there, who's like an older guy who like owns a business down in South Park. That's like heating. It's a heating company called King Electric. Shout out to my guy Brad at King Electric. Anyway, they have like a huge warehouse, and then across the street they own like a separate building. Yeah. This is like a family company that has been in his family for a while, and they have a separate building across the street that has offices, and he's been like a guitar player all his life, or a bass player or something, and so he wanted to build a recording studio. So he turned one of the offices into the recording studio.
Dang.
And he just had this recording studio. And when we were in the music program, he was like, oh, you should come check out my recording studio sometime. And I thought he just had like a little home studio or something. So one time I was like, oh, what's up? And I saw one guy that was in our class, and he was like, yo, have you been to Brad's spot? It's like kind of dope.
Dang.
And so I went over there and checked it out. I was like, oh, he has like a legit studio. And then I was like, man, I kind of want to do this thing. Are you open to that? And he was like, yeah, come on. So we just started doing it there, and it was like I said, a very random spot. It was just in this like very office building in South Park, in this super like desolate area of South Park where it's just all industrial and like So
that's super cool. Though.
People, whenever they would come to do the interviews, they would always like pull into the parking lot where I gave them the address to, and they'd always like be like, am I about to get robbed here? Like, what the fuck? Where are we? And then they text like, I'm in this super sketchy parking lot. And they'd be like, oh, yep, you're in the right spot.
Yeah. I still don't know how people feel about this location. People seem to be okay, but I think I also feel like I'm still like, this is like the worst analogy, but like, because I'm young enough, people still like will look at my ID. Also, I have a vertical ID somehow still.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really.
Damn, you're hella young, bro. That's so crazy.
Like, if I go to like whatever, like a fucking grocery store.
Yeah.
If people will say happy birthday to me for like 2 months, so, you know what I mean? So like I feel like that still might be the case with like my podcast too. People want to be nice and not really tell me if it's sketchy or not. But I think like, I don't know if
they want to be nice because you're young?
No, because it's like I'm new. My business is so new.
Oh,
right. I feel like, so I don't know if people
what
really...
do you think that they think it's sketchy because it's Pioneer Square?
Yeah, I haven't really heard any feedback yet. But I do know people
Pioneer
like
Square is Pioneer Square. It is what it is, but
I guess I don't know.
I mean,
Like it's better than. Oh, you never saw the Third Wheel Studio?
is that the one in the U District?
Yeah.
No, I never saw
Yeah,
that.
that one was crazy. Like by the time I left there, like homeless people were like sucker punching girls on the street and shit.
What? That's
it was
crazy.
insane. Yeah, it was fucking crazy.
Damn.
But like here,
so you
like,
don't have that spot at all anymore, right?
The owners still run it, but
Okay.
I don't.
You don't do anything
No,
with it
no.
anymore. Okay.
Yeah, but that's it's like I like this area. There's like some upsides and downsides, and there's definitely things to think about as a business owner, like fucking tickets, for example. And
I know that's honestly the main thing. That's the only thing that I would say.
I'd say real change is a big thing too, though.
What do you mean?
You know what real change is?
The magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in the basement of this building, so like people of
got it. I didn't realize
specific
that.
characters can come into this building.
Specifically, there's probably even more homeless people or houseless people that are in
the mission is literally like right next
down
door,
the street,
and then during business hours,
gotcha.
You know, so that is something to think about. But there's also think about like there's probably a few buildings on this street that I could really do research on if I wanted to, but this is a historical building,
right?
So like there are definitely write-offs for like if I need to figure out, you know,
I see,
pricing on things. It's like it's the best place to be is a historical building for that,
right?
You know, but it's interesting. So, but for you, you haven't really done any podcasts since COVID, or what is that
sorry,
like?
I totally like.
See,
my thing
is like an 80. I'm like a try to do the origin story, but
good. I'm glad that you're remembering because I go off on tangents. Anyway, yes. So our shit during COVID, we went on hiatus, and then we started trying to do a couple like Zoom interviews. And they just didn't have the same feel, the energy, you know what I mean? It's totally different doing online stuff than in person. And our chemistry with myself and Joe, you know, just between us and the guests was just like a real thing that worked really well in person.
Yeah.
And so also just we did a couple trying to go back once kind of COVID, you know, was kind of settling down a little bit. And then we did a couple where in a separate Brad at King Electric, he set up like a separate little smaller studio in the building that he was using as like a streaming studio. And so we started trying to do some stuff on there because we could just record it all, you know, all on like a OBS. And so we were just kind of recording everything. So we were going to start doing video. And it just, I don't know. It was just, the timing just wasn't right.
Yeah, it's a lot of podcasts. I think podcasting is... I'm the worst with analogies, but I almost feel like podcasting's almost like golf, where like it's
what? I'm waiting to see where this goes now. Go ahead.
Where like you hear like people do it, and you know a lot of people who do it, but then you don't realize like it's actually super expensive to do.
Oh yeah.
Actually, you know, like I've obviously like just doing my taxes, I had to like go through my expenses and like. Probably, I tried to say last month was like the first month that I started making money, but it's probably like, where it's at least net profit or whatever the fucking terms are. But it's probably this month is the first month I've actually like seen
made a
like,
little money.
Yeah. So and that's already with having like 4 years of buying gear already.
Right.
So podcasting is very expensive.
It is.
So.
Yeah,
no, I definitely get it. I think it's just time consuming too.
That's really the main thing. It was the time consuming part was just like the post production is, you know, I love doing the actual recording of the podcast, but I don't want to have to do the post production. And then the fucked up part is I know how to do it. So it's like it pretty much falls on me or else we got to pay somebody. And so it's like, okay, so should we pay somebody or should I spend my whole life editing? And it's like I just didn't want to do the editing. So that's what was working about using that little small studio. We could just record it and have it be almost like a live show and then post the video, but it just wasn't the right time for us to come back, you know, for each other, for our lives and stuff. It just wasn't the right time. So I don't know. We've been talking about it again recently, but we'll see what happens. And then I also started working with my guys at the gym that I go to called Athletic Forum. I don't know if you saw any of that, but
I've heard. Where is the Athletic Forum?
It's not far. It's down on First Avenue South. So like, do you know where? It's like just north of the West Seattle freeway.
Yeah. Wait. So West Taylor Pier is like right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's down that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just like go down, like, you know, where you go past like Showbox Soto and there's what's the name of the place?
Showgirls. I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
That's the place.
Right there. Just past that. Yeah.
It's in the parking lot, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, I helped these guys start a podcast, the guys who own the gym.
Oh.
Yeah, Phil and Robel, and they started a podcast.
You know Robel too?
Yeah, you know Robel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mine's like obviously like my age, but like I didn't know that was actually.
Oh, you know a different Robel. Okay, yeah, that's.
I didn't know that
guy.
was an actual like even somewhat popular name or common name.
Oh, I didn't know it either, but I guess it is.
Okay, so you started their podcast.
Is your friend Robel African?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is he?
I think
Eritrean? Ethiopian?
Either one of the two.
Okay, yeah. Anyway.
They both start with E's.
Well, yeah, but they're different. You can't just group them together.
Yeah, but yeah, he's
anyway,
cool.
My guy Robel is Eritrean, so.
Yeah, actually, I think he's. I don't know. I should ask him.
Anyway, yes. I helped them start a podcast, and then I ended up just kind of becoming one of the co-hosts on it too.
Oh.
So I'm on that podcast now. We're just actually getting ready to start season 2 of that, but we did that all last year.
Wait, what? I actually did not know.
Okay, so you didn't do the full research. Then.
Wait.
I'll send you the link. How about that?
Yeah.
The Two Truths podcast. It's on all the podcast platforms. It's on YouTube.
And there's video to it?
Yep, there's video for every episode.
I wonder if I have seen an episode. What do you guys focus on? Two Truths? Or?
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like pop culture and music, I guess. Headline news and pop culture news more than headline news.
Got it. So as a DJ, do you feel like... Is it easier for DJs to stay in the loop on like what's going on in music than a regular person, or do you feel like DJs can still succumb to like being like 80s was the best time for music?
I mean, I think you can succumb to it, but if you just get stuck in that one thing, that's
well, like what makes people like get stuck in like not wanting to hear new music?
Well, I think people are attached to the music that they either grew up on or like. You know, I think the music that you identify with is the music that you listen to like between like middle school and your early 20s.
What about I identify with Motown more than anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think you're the odd man out on that one.
Oh.
You think most of your
people I have a Barry Gordy
age,
book in the other room. It's a
but do you think most of people your age identify with Motown as their music?
No, probably not.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a decision to like be hip, I guess.
To be hip. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. The whole thing is just so weird. Music has changed so much. I was just talking about this on the other friends' podcast the other day, man. It's just like everything has changed so much in the music like landscape. I feel like with the sound of music, it all is kind of like relating back to each other too. Like the fact that the clubs have a lot of clubs have kind of switched over to this model where they're like doing VIP sections or tables, and people come and like buy a table and then buy bottles for the table, and that's like the cool thing to do.
Is that the main income though, do you think too?
Well, the clubs just realized that they could make way more money off of that than selling a bunch of drinks at the bar to people coming up and buying 2, 3, 4 drinks a night. You know what I mean? So
well, not to cut you off. Well,
no.
To cut you off, I guess.
Yeah.
But like so I went to your Q show and I saw like the VIP thing and I was like, does this actually even look cool though? Like what type of
I feel like
not trying to obviously like these are both kind of like newer to me, but for you those are like basically like your clients, right? Because like they're coming so I don't want to like shit on the people that you're DJing for, but like what type of guy is like I'm just gonna spend my maybe that's me like trying to figure out how to budget things.
Yeah. That's not what buying bottles is about. It's like about the opposite of that.
Yeah, but
it's like how can I blow my whole budget to look cool? So basically.
I'm just
but there's plenty of people that have that money too.
I guess so.
You know what I mean? So there's plenty of people that just make money and they want to spend it and it makes them look popular or pop into
guess so.
To, make it rain in their section or whatever.
Yeah.
So they go and they buy tables and they buy bottles. Q, I feel like, is actually not the best example of what I'm talking about.
Right.
But what I was getting at was that, like, okay, these clubs they make more money doing the sections thing. So then they turn their clubs into like this lounge instead of like a dance club, right? Because it's more like just a bunch of tables and everybody kicks it at their tables and has fun.
Yeah.
And then like hookah, they set up hookahs in the club or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then that influences the music because the music is geared more to like, oh, how can I just like the energy in the music is different. It's not about dancing as much.
You're playing like Currency instead of like
sure, yeah, or like more like turn up shit, like some like Atlanta.
Well, you'd play that while people are Wait, while people are doing hookah, you'd play that?
Well, I'm saying like that's the kind of vibe that people can vibe to when they're just kicking it at their section. It doesn't have to be about dancing. You know what I mean? That music is more just about like the turn up, and like.
See, that's still the disconnect I have with me trying to figure out how to DJ clubs.
Right.
See, if I'm thinking about vibe and I'm thinking of like jazzy rappers, something like that's
jazzy rappers.
Yeah, that'd be, I don't know, that'd be something like chill. If you're gonna do hookah, but you're saying like you still want to be like.
I'm not saying I want to do
but
that.
Like the
I'm saying that's the vibe that goes with that music, at least in other places. I don't think it's as much like that in Seattle, but
people want to listen to like Ed Sheeran here, right?
No.
They want to listen to Ed Sheeran's rap album.
Definitely not. No. I don't know what you're talking about now.
You know Ed Sheeran's rap album, though, right?
No, he has a rap album?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I have not heard that. He
has like 50 Cent on it and Eminem.
What?
It's not that good, in my opinion.
Okay, I did not hear that. Is that old?
Came out like maybe 3-4 years ago.
I didn't hear it at all. Was there any songs that were like big off of it?
Maybe. I don't remember.
No, I didn't. That's not a thing. You're just making that up.
No, it's I forget what it's called. But it was not that good.
Ed Sheeran rap.
Yeah.
Now that's what I call rap. Ed Sheeran version.
So basically, I don't know. So what is Seattle likes? Like what everyone else likes?
Well,
what?
Yes. I think as a very short answer, yes. Oh. I think that Seattle's like nightclub scene has become very weird. Like it's kind of like this homogenous thing because we have so many transplants here, right?
Yeah.
We have so many like people at Amazon, Microsoft, that there's so many people from other parts of the country, other parts of the world and those are the people, a lot of those people are now becoming a huge percentage of the people that go out, like these younger tech bros or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, you have to play music that's more like the mainstream. So you have to turn shit into like the most mainstream songs possible to be able to hit the widest audience. Because if you play more niche type stuff, then a lot of the people that are at the clubs are not going to even know what it is. And now it's to the point where people don't want to go to a club and hear like new shit they've never heard before. That's just not like other people that are more hip to music go to clubs and they be like, Seattle DJs are weak. And like, they just play the same shit. But it's like, no, that's not really the case. We just play to the crowd that's at the club.
Right.
So you stop being so weak in the audience and start responding to better music. And then we can play it. So now, and those are for like the bigger clubs.
Right.
You know what I mean? What's become more cool is like the more niche curated parties. You know what I mean? Like Afrobeats parties, I'm a piano, you know what I mean? Those parties have been super popping because there's a smaller audience of people that like that and want to go and listen to that. Or there's other like cooler parties, or like there's lots of R&B parties that have gotten really popular.
But then I almost feel like you still have to do the thing of being like the stereotypical DJ so people like you and then they'll follow you.
What do you mean, the stereotypical DJ?
Not the is that the right word? Yeah, like playing the music, the stereotypical like what you're going to play at a normal club.
Right.
You'd have to take that route, and then once people know that you can play music, then they'll come to like you doing a smaller show. Because if I'm just like, I don't think really people even know that I'm a DJ. Let's just be honest. Like, but like not yet. But like with that, if I was just to post tomorrow, I'm doing the only Afro beats, obviously, which is not true.
Right.
But let's say I was the only one doing an Afro beats show tomorrow or ever, just doing Afro beats. So that wouldn't mean people would show up to that. It would be, I would still have to go through the thing of like DJing clubs and then people knowing who I am, and then do an Afro show. Like, I don't think it's people actually want to listen to that music, though they might want to listen to that music, but they also want to go because they trust that DJ. I feel like, right? Could I start a random night and then it's going to get popular if no one knows who I am?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the night will just get popular because it's a more niche night. There's other factors to it. I mean, it's like who's putting the party together, who's promoting it, how's it getting promoted. There's all those kind of aspects still. Yeah. But I'm just saying those are the parties that the like quote unquote cool people or like tastemakers in Seattle and probably I think in other cities as well, from what I've heard from other DJs in other cities. Those are the parties that are like the cool parties now, because it used to be cool to go to the club.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to explain is that like now going to like the club, like the nightclub is not even necessarily like the cool thing anymore.
Because of COVID or what?
No, just because of like the vibe and the like smaller curated parties are more of like the cool thing to go to now.
And are those still at venues or are those at people's houses or something?
No, they're at venues. They're just smaller venues. You know what I mean? Like you went to Q, right? It's like the biggest club in Seattle.
That's crazy. It isn't even that big, right?
It's pretty big. Did you go around the whole place?
There's only one floor, right?
Yeah, but it's like square footage wise, it's pretty big.
I guess when I think of a club, for whatever reason, I had pictured what is that, WAMU or something? Or not shit, WAMU.
WAMU?
Not WAMU. That's actually what
that's a straight theater.
I meant Showbox.
Soto?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean I feel like that's more of a venue for like a performance venue.
Well,
they have had club nights there in the past, but those were huge club nights.
You know, like when you think of like Blade or like yeah.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's what I think.
Like some industrial like nightclub.
That's what I think of
when party.
When
that's
I think
like
of a club, that's what I think.
A bunch of vampires there. I knew exactly what you were talking about, but yes.
So like, but
that's what you think of as like a club.
Yeah.
Got you.
But so Q's compared to that.
Yeah, I mean, they used the space that they had and they built it out the way that they could. But
wait, what was that before?
Well, I don't even remember what it was. I have no idea. Oh. But I just know that it's. I'm just saying because it's on Capitol Hill, it's the space that it is. They couldn't like make it any bigger. You know what I mean?
Huh. And then what type of people? Because it's been around for a few months now. Like, what type of people do you think go to like Shibuya at this point? Is that just for like?
I feel like it caters to a little bit of an older crowd, people that are still want to go out, have a good time, have some drinks, listen to good music, and not have to deal with a bunch of like 21-year-olds getting shit-faced and also listening to the current music that's getting played at nightclubs.
So they would still, those people though, probably don't want to hear new music. Or what?
I mean, maybe they want to hear new music, but they just want to hear a more curated music that goes with the vibe that they're into. I think that's part of it too. You know, there's lots of new music that I think is really good that isn't like the kind of stuff that I can play in the club because it's not the stuff that people know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Like you had to tell me that, what's it called? What was that? The Drake song was good?
Which one?
What is the one with SZA and Sexy Red?
Oh, Rich Baby Daddy?
Yeah.
That's the one.
That took forever for me to like.
Oh, really?
Finally be like, okay.
I'll play it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the greatest song ever, but it's
pretty.
It's
catchy.
at least like right now today.
Yeah.
I feel like that's still probably getting the biggest reaction every week for the past like few months.
Yeah.
Since it dropped, it's been like the one song of the night that gets the biggest reaction. As soon as you play it, everybody's like, yeah, it starts. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, let's say that I wasn't going to, what's the right word? Change what I'm doing and like what type of music I like.
Yeah.
What clubs or bars would accept me? Or would I really just have to make my own?
Yeah, I think you'd have to make your own thing. If you're going to just play the stuff that you want to play, that basically equals let me find smaller places that are just down to let me try what I want to try.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to play at a place where there's people dancing, you kind of have to play the stuff that's going to keep them dancing. Otherwise, you're not really doing your job as a DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's just kind of the hard truth about DJing is you're playing for people. And it's like you kind of have to go with what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's like you could just DJ at home for yourself if you want to play what you want to hear. You know
I haven't been to like an electronic night anywhere. What about that? You don't
I'm not really as hip to that whole scene, but
because I wonder if you
I
can't
think that there's more room for experimentation and some newer stuff in that genre.
Huh.
I don't know why, but I guess it just lends itself more to that. I feel like
because you're not attached to the artist as much,
maybe, yeah, and because a lot more of it is maybe non-vocal.
Mm-hmm.
So like with vocal music, like hip hop and R&B, it's like people want to hear the songs that they can sing along to.
Right.
I mean, there's obviously vocal EDM and house and stuff like that too. And
Right.
I feel like there's just so many different genres, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think you could probably experiment a little more when you're in that kind of a genre. But when you're in top 40 hip hop, R&B, it's like people want the songs they can sing along to, and it's pretty frustrating sometimes.
But at the end of the day, that probably means I'm wrong and everyone else is right for like what music is good. Or
I mean, I don't know if wrong or right is the way to put it, but it's like I said, if you want to play the music you want to play, then you kind of have to start your own thing. You can't just be like, "Yo, can I come DJ at your nightclub?" And I'm just going to play all the stuff I want to play, though. I'm not going to play what people want to hear.
So I could potentially have really good taste and everyone else sucks.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, sure.
Maybe. But do you think, what if I was to like just randomly decide to like travel the world and DJ? Do you think I just find a city that likes what I'm playing? Or would still, you're saying Seattle's just like every other city at this point?
No, I actually think that Seattle's music taste, as far as the nightclub scene, is we've always had a problem like of being a little bit behind, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not everybody, but as a general population, sometimes it takes a little longer for songs that are big in other places to hit here and really like get big. Now with the internet, it's not really as much the same. Everything kind of gets to everywhere, but it's definitely, it seems like Seattle's music scene for DJs and nightclubs and stuff is very much like a lot of the clubs are just playing the same shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then also, like, since COVID, playing a bunch of like throwback stuff really works.
Yeah, I see that
a lot better than a lot of the new music, which is another weird phenomenon. It's like,
yeah, why do people like throwbacks so much?
I don't know. Maybe it's because of the fact that the new music is not really hitting the way that it should. It's not impacting the way that the throwback music was, and people want to hear stuff that's more nostalgic.
Yeah.
So
you see with Jack Harlow. I don't really know if I genuinely like Jack Harlow or not. I feel like he just kind of follows what's safe, but I think he's better than some and not as good as others. But, he's just right down the middle.
Yeah.
Like he's been doing that a lot with like just remixing old songs.
Oh,
like he did that with Glamorous, and what is that most recent one he did?
Lovin' on Me.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That one's like interesting because it sounds like it should be like huge, but it doesn't really work that well.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Something about it. It's like people kind of like it, but they don't get super excited for it.
Yeah.
Not the way that the Drake and Sexy Red Rich Baby did. Yeah. So.
Did you see my clip of me doing that to Code of the Friend?
No.
I was trying to make him sing the lyrics, and he got all pissed off.
Because you did it too?
Yeah,
you bent it over?
I bent it over. Wait, so there is like a hierarchy to clubs, right?
In Seattle? In what way?
Like, I don't know what the best club is, or is that all relative in Seattle?
I think it's all relative. Yeah, it's whatever you like.
Yeah. Wait, what's the biggest bar in Seattle?
The biggest bar?
Is that a thing? Or at that point, is it a bar like a club at that point?
Right. That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I DJ at like Havana, and that's a bigger bar. It's not like a small bar.
Yeah.
But it's definitely kind of a club.
Well, then what's Clock Out Lounge? Clock Out Lounge is just a...
I think Clock Out Lounge is a venue because they don't really do a lot of DJ nights, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, that thing that we did there was like not the norm.
Got it.
They'd more do live music.
And I still haven't been to Sugar Hill? Or what was
Sugar Hill?
What was that thing you just did last week when I was skiing?
Oh, the 206 day.
Yeah, where was that?
That was at Sugar Hill.
And that's on Capitol Hill.
That's on Capitol Hill,
That's like when you're driving down and you're almost at Starbucks Reserve, I feel like.
Yeah, it's one block over, but yes. Yeah.
And that's just like I haven't been inside that. That's just like a little bar.
It's a bar, lounge, restaurant. So it's like a Thai restaurant But they also have a bar, and it used to be more of a club before COVID. Then after COVID, the owner was like, I don't really want to do the whole club thing anymore. I just want it to be popping and have people come and listen to the music, and they can dance a little bit, but we're not going to have like this dedicated dance floor and a bunch of security and have it be like a full on club, because that's what it was when it opened.
Got it.
And it just got a little out of hand.
Huh.
So it's still really fun.
But like
and we cater the music more there to a little bit more of a throwback vibe. So it's more like 2000s hip hop and R&B, a little bit of 90s, some like 2010s, and a little bit of new stuff.
And have you seen like an age demographic in Seattle really to like who's going out?
In general, or for that place?
Just in general. Like, are there people my age going out, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's still people going out. I mean, everybody turns 21 and wants to go out, a little bit. But I feel like it's way less popular than when I turned 21.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like there's so many other options now of things for people to do that are like at home, know, or like just hang out with their friends. I think that's more like the cool thing these days to do.
My family thinks my family, what do they say? Basically, like, I try to set myself up so I don't fail at things.
Okay.
Which might be good.
It's hindering you?
Maybe, but like to the point where like I rather like learn all this information and just like then figure out what to do with it versus just like going into something.
I see.
Figuring it out. But that makes me become a hermit at the same time.
Yeah. I think that I have a tendency to do that sometimes too. Is like overanalyze everything, spend too much time trying to like prepare for things when when it to instead of actually just doing the thing.
Yeah.
And that like has slowed me down a lot in a lot of my processes. Just like getting things out. Like, for example, starting the podcast, right? It took us like 3 years because we would just like talk about it and try to plan, okay, well, should we do this? And it's like, dude, just fucking do it. You know what I mean? And I was talking to my guy, DJ Prime, who like in the last year has started doing a bunch of DJ content on like IG and TikTok, and has grown a huge following in the last year. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, because I'm going to start doing some different kind of stuff like that too. And he's like, you got to just start doing it. Just start posting whatever it is. You'll figure it out along the way, like how to refine it and make it better and whatever. But like, just stop talking about it. Just do it.
Yeah. Like my biggest thing is because I've become such a hermit.
Yeah.
Like when I've tried to do my solo podcast, it doesn't really come off genuine. Even if I'm just talking to myself, even if I'm not writing anything down and I'm just spitballing, it doesn't come off genuine because I'm overthinking what to say.
Oh,
and it's almost like I need to go out and do a podcast. But I don't want to do a vlog. But it's my biggest issue right now is currently figuring out how my audience to make sure my audience understands I'm a personality versus just like an interviewer. Because I'll get all these big guests, and it's more like PR companies appreciate that like I give good interviews.
Right.
But then the random person that comes across my podcast, I'll get the comments being like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool that this guy decided to go on this small podcast."
Right.
Versus being like, "Oh, I have done this for 4 years and put in all this effort. And this is my resume." It's more like I just got lucky. Because people don't understand that I have a personality that people potentially want to be on my show for.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
So it's weird. I'm trying to figure out how to like have a personality. I don't know if that's going to be through DJing, but then when you're thinking about DJing, you have to play what people want.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really know how for people online to like understand what I do or who I am.
Well, what's the solo podcast supposed to be?
Like things I'm interested in. Like I just did my latest episode is I went to the Shogun pre-screening. Have you watched Shogun?
I just started watching it last night.
Dude, do you like it? Or some people think it's slow, but
I mean, no, I think it fits what it's trying to do.
Yeah. The first 2 episodes are really heavily like character building.
Okay.
But randomly I got invited to go to like a pre-screening of it, so I saw it in theaters.
Dope.
But then so it seems like it's getting good interaction, but it's also because it just came out.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm using that to my advantage. But like it's almost like I'm showcasing myself more through my silly edits versus like
the actual content.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do. It's just like a fucking thing. I really do not want to become a vlogger. Like I don't think that's going to show who I am by like just filming me doing random shit in public. It's like
Yeah, it doesn't really fit your personality, right?
Yeah.
I know. That's the thing with me too. It's like I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be walking around with my fucking camera everywhere I go. Like, yo, okay, guys, I'm here and I'm doing this and talking to the camera all the time. It just doesn't feel like me. So I got to get more used to doing a little bit of it, but I don't want to have that be my thing, you know?
Yeah. So like, what was your journey of becoming like being able to like DJ whenever? Because it seems like you can DJ wherever you want in Seattle, and like it's your full time.
I mean, I've definitely been. I think that I started kind of in a place where you are talking about you are because, well, first of all, I came from already being connected in the music scene, right? As an MC. So,
and you just went by Miguel Rockwell then too?
When I was in Clockwork?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, actually, when we didn't really talk about this, but yeah, we moved to LA and were signed to DreamWorks, and then that didn't end up panning out, and so we moved back. And when we moved back, it was just kind of a random thing how I got into DJing. I was at a bar on Capitol Hill and with some friends and just like talking to the owner, and he was saying, "Oh, I need a DJ on a new DJ from Thursdays," and I was like, "Oh, my friend DJs," and he had never DJ'd before. He just had turntables and records. But he had never like DJ'd a party or for anybody. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, my friend DJs," because he just like would make like little mixtapes and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, well, you tell him to hit me up." And so I told my guy, I was like, "Yo, I think I just got you a DJ gig." And he was like, "Oh, what?" And so he went and talked to the dude, and they just kind of thought each other were cool. And so he started doing this night on every Thursday, and that's when we were like 23. And so we were like perfect age for all of our friends to be coming out to the club on Thursday nights. Right. So started doing that first couple of weeks. Then like after like the first couple of weeks, he was like, "Hey, can you like play a song so I can go to the bathroom?" And I knew how to DJ a little bit too. You know what I mean? I had like learned how to mix already in high school. And so I'd play songs, and then he would come back and he'd be like, "Yeah, you can play a couple more if you want." And I'd be like, "Okay, cool." So I just like keep playing. And then like as the weeks went on, I just kept like being like, "Yo, take another break. Let me play some more music." And I really liked it. And so I kept playing. And then it ended up turning into like it was mine and his thing together. And then after like a year or more, he was like, "I'm not really that into it anymore. I don't really want to do it." And I was like, "I kind of want to keep doing it." So I just kept DJing.
Wait, did you buy gear at that point?
Well, I bought his equipment off of him. Yeah. Actually, he had turntables and we were started on vinyl. And then he had gotten CDJs when they first came out. They were like pretty new. These were like the original CDJ 1000s, I think. And that was like,
that's what they use at clubs currently, or is that DDJ?
Oh no, they use CDJs at most clubs, but it's not the 1000s. It's like the 3000s or the 2000 Nexuses or something like that. But yeah, but it's essentially the same thing, just like an older version. But that was such a game changer because you could play burned CDs in them. Like those CDJs, you would actually put a disc in a CD.
That's crazy.
And play music off of it and be able to manipulate it on the jog wheel. And so you could just download music and burn it onto CDs, and then you didn't have to go spend money every week on new vinyl. You know what I mean?
That's
so
crazy.
That was like a huge game changer to be able to stay current with all the current new music. So I bought his CDJs off of him when he stopped DJing, and then I just kept on DJing.
Wait, so the question I was asking over text was like, so how are you supposed to know what music you're playing on a CDJ if you don't use a laptop?
So, okay, so what you were talking about is using, I think, thumb drives in the CDJs?
Yeah.
In the record box?
Yeah.
Is that what you're...
Yeah, because I was gonna DJ at Supernova one night, and like it ended up just like not working out because I brought my laptop, and I don't have... Like, am I supposed to make like DJ playlists already, or is like all my playlists are on Serato?
Yeah,
and it wouldn't connect... My Serato wouldn't really connect to the CDJs.
That's weird. I mean, you should definitely be able to connect your laptop to CDJs. Well, I guess it depends on what mixer it is, but
yeah, that one wasn't working. And I bought the subscription too. Like for some CDJs, you have to have like
it's usually the mixer is the thing. It's not as much about the CDJs or turntables or whatever. It's usually what kind of mixer.
Probably the mixer then.
You should be able to connect it, but I don't know what the problem was.
So it's basically
but
just straightforward.
A lot of people have been switching and have switched over to using thumb drives because the CDJs have a USB slot in them where you can plug a thumb drive directly into the CDJ.
Yeah.
And they've been switching a lot of their music libraries over to the thumb drive. So then if you wanted to do that, there's programs that you can use. You can just take your whole Serato library or certain crates from your Serato library and transfer them over to crates that are made for Record Box on the thumb drive. Then you go plug it into the CDJ, and then you can use the little dial on the CDJs themselves to like scroll through your songs and pick the songs
and it will keep
on the screen.
It'll keep
CDJ
your
cue points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cue points and loops, I think, too. I haven't done it yet, but I'm kind of rattled. I don't want to switch over.
Yeah. But it's basically supposed to it's like one of those things where you buy newer equipment to make your life supposedly easier. Is that the point of a CDJ?
I don't know if that's the point of the CDJ, but I think a lot of people do like using the thumb drives for that reason, because you don't have to bring a backpack or anything. You just bring this little stick in your pocket and maybe headphones if you're using headphones or whatever.
Right. So like at that, like it's like I have an ATEM that I'm recording on right now to do like the camera switching.
Yeah.
So that I don't need like some camera switching actual software to have a better laptop, because my laptop's like doing the bare minimum for me right now, right?
Okay.
So I'm buying more expensive equipment,
right?
So I don't have to buy a better laptop.
Got you, because they're expensive.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's similar to maybe a CDJ, where if you buy a CDJ, you don't have to have a good laptop. Well, then you'd still have to have the laptop to. I don't know. The point is, there's such a learning curve if I really want to get into clubs, which I still want to try to do. But,
yeah.
I don't know.
What I was saying also is that, like, after that whole situation where I bought my friend's gear off of him and just continued to DJ, we had that like club night at a small bar on Capitol Hill that has now turned into the Cha Cha right next to Mario's Pizza.
The Cha Cha Lounge?
Yeah.
And you DJ there still?
No. It used to be a place called Des Amis, and that's where we started our night.
Oh.
But after that, I had a hard time getting into other like clubs for quite a while. So I went and started other nights at other smaller places. Like I had a spot that was right down the street from here. There's a Japanese restaurant called Nijo.
Is it still there?
I think it's still there. I can't remember. I think it's on Spring, like just behind First Avenue.
Okay.
In that alleyway. Is that Post Alley? Yeah. I went and started a night there, and that got, fun. A bunch of my friends would come out on a regular basis, and so that was pretty cool. And then I started DJing for some other like promotion crews, because that was kind of a thing back in that era, was a bunch of promoters would actually put the nights on. Now it's just like DJs mostly put on a lot of the nights. There's not as many promotion crews anymore.
Kind of like the artist thing, where the artists have to be like their manager, whatever.
Yeah, because now DJs are expected to be promoters for their nights too, and it's like a whole thing. But I definitely did a whole put in my time of doing like way smaller gigs. So you don't have to start there, and there's plenty of people that are getting gigs at bigger clubs when they just started DJing, and that's a whole nother question, a whole nother conversation of whether that should be happening. But
so it just seems like no matter what profession you're in, it kind of just takes time and grinding.
Yeah, but I think if you want to be able to do the thing that you like doing, which is playing the music that you really like, then you kind of got to start in some smaller place and build your thing. But you have such a built-in like group of people already that you've made connections with from doing this podcast, that it seems like it wouldn't be as hard as you think to get something going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fair. Like, do you think is Pioneer Square like a neighborhood to do? I DJ'd whatever that place is, the Underbelly, like a week or two ago.
What's the Underbelly?
Wow, it used to be. I think it might have been called something else at one point, but it's like literally like a block away on this street, and it's like an underground bar.
Okay.
And like, I didn't get paid a lot. It was like $125, and like, I brought 10 people, not a ton of people, because it was very last second. But those were the only people that showed up.
Right.
Like the bar, like no one really came to the bar. And then I DJ'd the place right next door called the
Mm-hmm.
Chapel Lounge. I don't know if you saw it. It was like literally right next door. But
Mm-hmm.
I DJ'd there on New Year's and I got paid, and I didn't promote it. It wasn't for me to promote.
Mm-hmm.
And literally New Year's Eve, I DJ'd for like 4 hours. Only 3 people came to the lounge the entire night. So I'm like, is Pioneer Square just like a dead area? Is COVID still a thing? Or like, what's going on?
I mean, Pioneer Square is definitely not what it used to be as
Got
far
it.
as like people going out, right? That was kind of like one of the original. That was probably at least in my lifetime, that was the place that used to be where people would all go out for nightlife.
Yeah.
So it was like, and it moved. It was like Pioneer Square, then it was like Belltown, and then it was like Capitol Hill. And I don't know what's happening now. I mean, people are still obviously out on Capitol Hill, but yeah. It got to where there was just too many shootings in each place. So there was Pioneer Square. It got too crazy. Then it moved to Belltown. Then there was a whole bunch of shootings in Belltown. Then it moved up to Cap Hill, and now people get shot up there too. So yeah,
that's crazy. Like Capitol Hill is supposed to be the place where like young people want to move. I don't want to move to Capitol Hill. It's expensive and it's like grimy up there.
It is now for sure. Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Seattle.
But I think, I mean, as far as people not coming on New Year's, that's tough. New Year's is a tough one already.
Really?
Well, there's so much draw to other places.
Yeah.
So you can't just assume that just because it's New Year's that a bunch of people are going to come out. You know what I mean? Because if they are going to come out, they're going to go somewhere that they know what's happening already.
Yeah.
So
it could be coincidence that I just did 2 places that sucked on that.
Oh, because it like made you feel like it was you?
No, it's more, what am I? I don't know, actually. Maybe. Maybe
like
I think
really
I look in the mirror.
Inside, yeah.
It's more like, I don't know. I'm already pushing this so much, my podcast. My whole time is, I want to have a second thing like DJing. Like, for example, when I'm DJing at a wedding, like it's like I'm making that base pay like $1,000 for like, because I'm part of a company, so it's gonna be way less than like
doing it on your own.
But that's a nice like chunk of money for like a Saturday night or whatever, right? And I don't have to worry about anything except knowing what to do, right? Versus if I'm going to be DJing in Seattle, it almost feels like I have to like treat it as an actual second business and have to put like marketing and like meet the right people and all that.
Right.
Or is that true, or can I just like start showing up to one night and eventually people are gonna like my music? If I play the right, but then if I'm playing the right music, how are people gonna know it's me DJ? It's just like, what?
Yeah, I would say that to any DJ, not just you, if you want to get into DJing clubs and getting out in the spots where you think you want to be at, it's almost 100% about relationships and who you know. Yeah. It's not about your skill level and what kind of music you like and whatever. It's about who do you know and are they going to give you a shot? And I didn't realize that myself, even knowing so many people already in the Seattle music scene or whatever. I didn't realize that until probably like 10 years into DJing.
Yeah.
I've been DJing for like 20, 21 years now. And so I didn't realize that until way late in the game, and didn't even after I realized it start putting it into effect until later. And so I didn't start getting the opportunities in bigger clubs until I had already been DJing for a long ass time, because I was like, well, I just want to do my thing and I shouldn't have to like, make friends with all these people that I just to get into these places. But once I just kind of organically did start meeting more people that I didn't know before that were in these positions of booking or whatever, and just ending up becoming friends with them, it just started happening. Even if you like, just showing support to other DJs is like a huge way to get things popping. If you, my bad, I forgot to put this on.
Like I couldn't just like text Supreme and be like, hey, can I DJ at Shibuya? Or could
no, right? I don't think so. Well, first of all, Shibuya you definitely couldn't, because Shibuya only puts on vinyl DJs.
And you have to have those vinyl.
You don't even have to necessarily have the vinyl, but I mean, obviously, because they do have some, but
you
it's
have to
more
DJ them, know how to DJ them.
You have to know how to DJ on vinyl. So yeah, if you don't know how to do that, then that place is not for you. But but yeah, even just like supporting other DJs is just the easiest way to make that happen. I feel like if you go out and show up to other DJs' nights And even if you're just there for 5-10 minutes and you just say, hey, just want to come support and say what's up, show some love, introduce yourself to people you don't know. Just be like, hey, I'm a DJ and whatever. You just built a quick relationship. And then maybe you don't get booked that time. But then if you go back again and be like, hey, I saw you were DJing again. I want to come say what's up and show some love. It'd be like tight. And then it gets to the point where a lot of the times the DJs are the ones helping to make the schedule or book the DJs. Mm-hmm. And because they already have all the relationships built in from knowing the DJ community. And so then it gets to the point where they're like doing their booking on Monday or Tuesday and they saw you on Saturday night and they're like, okay, who should I put on the schedule? And they're like, oh, Blake was out here. He came to say what's up to me, the other night. Let me see if he wants to rock. Yeah. That's how it happened for me, for sure. Yeah. As soon as I started like making a conscious effort to go out and like show love and support other people's nights when I wasn't DJing on my off nights, then I started getting opportunities way more than I had before.
And do I have to go by DJ or can I just be like NAST?
Is that what your DJ name is, NAST?
Yeah, but I don't have to be DJ NAST, right?
You don't have to be DJ NAST, no.
Do people still do DJ? Like,
some people do.
Like, are you DJ Miguel Rockwell?
I'm actually not DJ Miguel Rockwell. Yeah. I'm just Miguel Rockwell because I was already Miguel Rockwell before as an MC, right? So sometimes when people write my name, they write DJ Miguel Rockwell, but I don't ever write it like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't consider myself just a DJ also. I'm like do multiple other things. So that's why.
Heck yeah, you do a lot of things. I think this has been a good pod. I feel like I learned some things. Do you have any questions for me? You said you had some questions.
I feel like we're going to have to do a separate interview. For sure. So maybe we should do another episode of your podcast, but I'll just interview you.
Yes, please.
I feel like that hasn't really happened.
No.
Right?
No. I'm just that has not happened.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can do more stuff too, It's like I think we could definitely come up with some other stuff where we could work together and
for sure
make some other.
I want to do that Daft
content.
Punk night that
that's the other thing. I was going to bring that up, but we talked about that for a while. We should definitely figure out how to make that happen. Let's not give away the the whole secrets, but
yeah, for sure. But it's interesting because I'm finally in a place where like I think for my business now to be successful, it also is going to take me like growing and like maturing, and so it's going to be interesting to see how as I grow, my business will grow because like.
Yeah, I think you're ahead of the game, though, man. Honestly,
I'm trying.
Like, for your age, I think you're pretty on it. You've been doing this shit now for years already, and are you still 21 or are you
23?
23, my bad.
Yeah, I'm an old man now.
Yeah, right.
Look at this facial hair.
Yeah, I had my first kid when I was 23. So.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah.
Wait, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
Oh my gosh.
But my oldest daughter, she's almost 22. So.
What the heck?
Yeah, she's 21.
You were 23.
Yep.
Or you weren't prepared? Were you?
I wasn't prepared, no. But it happened anyway.
Wrap up.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, wrap up. Everybody strap up out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like the most, what was that word you said? I analyze things too much to the point, like, I won't even have to be seeing anyone. I'll have big dreams of getting someone pregnant, and like it'll be like the worst nightmare. Like I am like too like obsessed with like figuring things out and like my dreams are like very like realistic, like oh shit, what if I ran out of gas when I was trying to get to work, or like just some stupid shit like that. Right. But that's me. Thank you for being on the show.
What a way to wrap that one up. That was an awesome ending.
Wrap up. Or where can people find you?
I'm on all socials at Miguel Rockwell, MiguelRockwell.com. I'm at multiple different venues in Seattle DJing pretty much every week. Yeah. You can look on Instagram at Miguel Rockwell, and I always post where I'm going to be at. I do in the Two Truths podcast. Getting ready to start another podcast. That's going to be more DJ based.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to work on some new DJ content, hip hop history related content.
His new rap album's coming out soon.
Yes,
too.
And that's coming out end of the year. I actually have been thinking about it, wanting to do music again. I haven't really been interested in that for a long time. But yeah, we'll see.
Do whatever.
We'll see what happens. I got too many things, and that's part of the problem, honestly. Sorry, I know we're trying to wrap up, but
no, for sure. No, I
no,
get that.
it's like I think that's one of the things that kind of like has hindered me also is that I have too many things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that many things, but the few things that I'm good at, I feel like I'm actually kind of good at.
Yeah.
And so I have too many things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Too many aspirations of, let me do this and this podcast and this DJ content and this DJ this night and acting and, music and all this other stuff. Yeah, we didn't even talk about acting. That was like my first thing that I was into. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
We You've lived your life, and you continue to live life. We have to have you back on.
Exactly.
I feel like the government or someone should, if you write down like on your records that you're an artist or whatever.
Yeah.
The government should give you like a mandatory like assistant or something.
That's the only way you can be able to make a living.
Yeah, because there's just too many ideas going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I have a notes app, and like, do I actually look back at my notes after I'm like, I want
put
to
a new idea?
No, I do never look back.
Never look back, only forward.
So yes, this has been the NAST podcast with
Miguel Rockwell. Wrap up.
We did it.
All right, peace,
man.
man.
Oh my God.